What's going on, everybody? I want to do a movie review, and in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated movies there is. And that movie is The Number 23, starring Jim Carrey and Virginia Madison. Um, Jim Carrey plays a dog catcher named of Walter Sparrow, and Agatha owns kind of like a bakery, and that's Virginia Madison's character. And there's a lot of hate on this movie. Not too many people like this. It only has 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it didn't really earn a lot of gross either. It only made like $77 million. But I think this is a very underrated movie, especially when it comes to psychological thrillers. And I'm not sure why this got such a bad rap. I find this movie extremely interesting and entertaining, and I'm not going to give too much away because I actually want you guys to go see this movie. Um, if you like movies like this, I think you'll really gravitate to it. And I think you know the characters in this are great, but let's start off with the plot a little bit. The story. It's Jim Carrey as Walter Sparrow, and his it's on his birthday, and his wife is waiting for him at a bookstore, and she finds a book called The Number 23. He gets to the bookstore, and he starts reading the book, and he starts noticing all these similarities in the book that kind of related to his actual life, especially his childhood. And it's kind of a movie, and the book itself, it's all surrounds this number 23. And if you look up the number 23, there's all kinds of interesting facts about that, on how there's so many things in history that adds up to 23. Like the Hiroshima bomb happened on 8/15. 15 plus 8 is 23. And you find all these interesting facts about the number. And the number really drives you insane because you are constantly thinking about it. You're constantly seeing it. And that's what happens to Walter Sparrow. He reads this book and he starts seeing 23 everywhere. His social security adds up to 23. His address is 23. His name adds up to 23. His birthday is 23. When him and Agatha got married. I mean, all this stuff just adds up to 23. And it's really interesting to see where this movie goes from here. And it, like I said, it's one of those movies that you makes you think. And they're basically, he gets so obsessed with the book, he has to know what the number means and who wrote the book. So the third act, or I guess maybe the second act, is really them trying to find out who wrote the book and what the hell does this number mean, because he's going crazy. I mean, he's writing stuff on his arm, he's writing stuff on the wall, he's like going to hotels in the middle of the night, he's having all these nightmares about killing Agatha. So he's really going insane. And so that's pretty much the story of what this movie is. Now let me get into the pros a little bit. And the pros, I think, are I think Jim Carrey does a great job in this. He really steps out of his element. And because, obviously Jim Carrey is known for the comedy guy, funny movies. This is actually probably his most serious movie. And I think he did a great job with that. And I think Virginia did a really good job too. She's a really good actress. And all the other side characters are really good too. Their son, Agatha's friend, who is kind of a professor, and he kind of gives a little bit of background on the number 23. And it's really a number that really messes with your head. And like, there's a really cool scene with him and Jim Carrey. And he's like, "So what is the number 23? Is it God?" And he's like, 23 divided by 2 divided by 3 is 0.666, number of the devil. So, I mean, that's really interesting stuff. And I love the third act. The third act, honestly, I didn't really see it coming. And I thought they really told that beautifully. And it's a really great movie. Now, as far as cons go, there are some, I guess. Now, they do kind of drill the number 23 into you quite a bit. And also, as Jim Carrey is reading this book, like as he's reading it, he's picturing himself in the book. And a lot of people do that when they actually read books. But there's some of those scenes that are kind of, so. I don't see too many downsides in this. I know a lot of people thought it was just weird Jim Carrey playing a role like this, like his face. It's hard to take Jim Carrey seriously, even when he's trying to be. A lot of people thought they saw the ending coming a mile away, or a lot of people just thought this it was stupid. This whole idea of making a movie about a number is stupid. But honestly, if you watch this, it kind of can mess with your head, even as a viewer, because you're like, after the movie's done, you're constantly looking for the number 23. And I'm guilty of that as well. You're constantly like adding up numbers. Does this add up to 23? Does this add up to 23? And when you do that, you can kind of see how that can really make a person insane because they're just constantly thinking about 23, 20. What does that add up? Does that add up? What's that? So you can really get a little freaked out by this. I'm not saying you'll go crazy to the extent that Walter Sparrow did, but you can kind of give yourself a headache a little bit. So I give this movie a high rating, guys. Give this movie a chance. I understand if you watch other people's reviews and whatnot, you're going to shy away from this. But this is one of these movies, in my opinion, you have to watch it to really take it for what it is. And it's a great movie, guys. I'm telling you, I think you'll really enjoy this movie. It's one of my favorite psychological thrillers there is. Jim Carrey is great in this. He steps out of his element and he really does a great job. And it would be interesting to see him do more movies like this. So please, guys, check out the number 23 if you haven't already. Tell me what you guys thought about this movie. Did you guys think it was stupid? Did you like it decently? Or did you guys think it was as of a good of a movie as I did? Please let me know in the comment section. And please subscribe.